Hey everyone, and welcome to a new video on Bite of Geek. Today I'm taking a look at the Arenti Dome 1 2K indoor security camera. So let's check it out. Okay, so here we have the Arenti Dome 1 indoor security camera. This is a 2K camera, 3 megapixel 2K camera, and yeah, just a couple of specs on the side of the box here. So yeah, it's a pan tilt camera, so not a PTZ. So we'll have a look at that shortly. You know, it's a 2K. It's got a couple of other features on it. You know, it's got AI motion detection, stuff like that, and obviously it's got you know, night vision as well, and you know, lots of other kinds of things that you find as common things with other cameras in this this price range. So let's get the box open. Quite nice packaging. You know, really kind of you know, trying to present an image here. This is supposedly designed in Italy, this camera. So you know, once we're inside with the box, we've got this little quick start guide, multilingual, and well, as you can see, it's not a very big book. Yeah, I think well, yeah, just looking here, I think most of this stuff's going to be done via the app. You know, I think we're looking at all of about 4 pages there in English, so not, you know, nothing unusual there. This is what a lot of these things are like nowadays. So inside the box we've got power adapter, so UK power adapter, which is basically just a USB plug. Pretty straightforward there. Obviously you would get a different one according to your country. And then we've got a I believe this is a 2-meter USB cable, so it's a micro USB. I would have preferred to have seen nowadays certainly a USB-C cable, but you know, USB-A on the other end. So you know, you could probably get a longer cable, you know, if you needed that. Then we've got a small little packet here of roll plugs and screws, so you know, you can mount this to a wall if you want to, and you know, you've got a little fixing plate here as well, which will go on the base of the camera. And then finally on this side of the box you've got some bizarrely some stickers. You know, this is a you know, kind of like a baby monitor indoor security camera type thing. So yeah, I'm not sure I'd be putting great big stickers like that up in my windows, but anyway, you know, they are there for you if you want to do that. And then on this side of the packaging we have the camera itself. So yeah, all nicely you know, individual bags and everything. You know, really good presentation with the product. And you know, this is you know, it's a different camera, this, to what is pretty much everything else on the marketplace. So we'll just get this cellophane off the front here. I mean, as you can see, this is a silver effect camera, so it's not that boring white that you get with a lot of cameras. So you know, this would you know, look quite well in kind of like a lounge, or you know, if you've got a kitchen diner or something like that. Very smart looking device. You can see where they've got that Italian design coming from. You know, Arenti logo on the front, and you know, it is really kind of like a silvery, shiny silvery grey, but not too in your face. You know, this black ball that is the is actually the camera itself, and then what looks like well, it just looks like some kind of golf ball dimples on the back, but actually they I suspect that is probably just a bit of a speaker there. On the base, well, you know, that's where you can put the mount on the bottom if you want to. You know, if you're just going to have this stuck on the side, you don't need to do that. And hopefully you can pick that up on the camera, but that's where the USB cable goes in. So it's nice that it's actually a recessed port for the USB cable. Yeah, you know, it's plastic. It feels plastic anyway. You know, quite solid plastic. You know, very different looking camera to what you are probably normally used to. And yeah, I'm not quite sure about this shiny black effect for it. I think maybe something a little bit more matte would have been better. So this retails for about £46 in the UK. There is a bit of a promotion on at the moment, which reduces that down to around about the £40 mark. But I'll put a link to it in the description down below if you're interested in picking one of these up. But first impressions, you know, quite a nice stylish camera, certainly a lot better than kind of like the generic looking white ones that every other manufacturer is producing at the moment. So let's have a look at the specification and just see exactly what you get for your money. So what exactly do you get for your money? Well, you know, as you can see here, nice stylish camera. As I mentioned earlier on, it is a 2K camera, so you've got really good resolution on that. So in terms of connectivity, well, like pretty much every other camera that's on the marketplace, it is 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi only. So unlike a lot of cameras in this sector, this is actually a pan and tilt, giving you that horizontal vertical movement of the camera, which is nice to see. So like a lot of cameras in this sector, it has a two-way audio, which is particularly useful if you're going to use this as maybe a baby monitor. In terms of night vision, well, it's black and white only, which I think personally is fine. I think, you know, there's color, night vision tends to suffer a little bit. You know, nice to see that you've got the local storage. It's a micro SD card, which is quite nicely tucked out the way at the base of the camera head. It's got AI detection, like a lot of these cameras do nowadays, and it also has sound detection as well. So, you know, you would be able to hear, you know, maybe if a baby's crying or something like that. And you know, it is as mentioned earlier, you know, it is USB powered, so it's a 5-volt USB adapter that you get with it. And you know, you can hook it up to your Google and Alexa devices. So once you've downloaded the Arenti app from your mobile store of choice, well, you just basically go through the setup process. So you're going to have to create an account. Yes, very frustrating, you have to have an account, but given that they give you 3 months free cloud storage, if you want to use that as opposed to the using the micro SD card in the camera, then you're going to need that account. But just a bit frustrating that, you know, if you don't want to use that, then you've got to create an account. And then you go through picking out what type of device it is that you're trying to hook up to the application. This is all very, very similar to the Smart Life app, and you know, certainly when you're integrating the smart devices, it actually talks about Smart Life there. So I would, I've not tried it myself, but I would hazard a guess that you could actually just use this on the Smart Life app if you wanted to keep it all under one account. Now, basically, you just follow the on-screen instructions. You're going to have to put in your credentials, you know, scan a QR code, and then put in your Wi-Fi details. Now, I have a couple of problems with this whole setup process. The first one is that all passwords displayed, whether that's for your account or for your Wi-Fi network, are all displayed in plain text, which is a huge no-no in an application. And you know, there's no excuse for this. Arenti, you know, you should have those as password fields. You can always stick a little you know, button or checkbox to go and say show me the password if users want to do that. But you shouldn't have passwords being displayed in little pop-up notifications in plain text. Now, the second thing that is again another bit of a problem for me in the setup process, and this is going to catch so many users out when they're going through the setup process, and I know this because it's one of the most common things that people talk about when they're on the channel when they're actually trying to set up these kinds of devices, is that there is no mention in the setup process that you have to select the 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi band. The only place where the 2.4 gigahertz band is mentioned is actually in the specification table for the camera. This is a huge oversight. All the manual and the application say just connect to your Wi-Fi network. Now, in the video clip I've got here, I've deliberately gone and selected my 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi And you can see what happens. It just sits there and goes all the way to 99%, over a couple of minutes before it actually fails and says, it can't find the camera. As soon as you go and put in the, choosing the 2.4 gigahertz network, then within, 3 or 4 seconds, something like that, it's actually connected to the camera, and I'm in the app and I'm ready to go. Now, that's going to save a huge amount of frustration for users, if Arenti just go and correct that, either in the app or in the manual. Such a simple thing to actually oversee when they're designing these kinds of things. So once you've got it all set up, it's time to delve into the application. And to be honest with you, it's a pretty decent affair. There's quite a few options here. And certainly, they've not cheaped out in terms of functionality for the application. As is common with these types of cameras, you've got the ability to share the device with another person, another user who can actually access the footage and view it back. So that's really good to see. You've got kind of like your standard kind of stuff on here. Detection zones where you can map it all out. One really nice option within the app is the privacy protection. Now, normally this kind of thing, in the same way that you do the activation zones, you actually just kind of mark out where you don't want the camera to go and record. Now, in this, in the Arenti app, you by default the lens is on, obviously, but you can have the lens off, and you can do this sort of by a schedule if you want to as well, and you can also do it with geofencing. So really nice to see those kinds of options available on a camera at this price point, really. Another option within the app is the human motion tracking. Now, this is achievable because of the pan and tilt functionality within the camera. And the idea is obviously that it follows you around wherever it tracks a human moving around within the space that it can see. Now, in my testing, I couldn't get that to work. I don't know whether I need to be doing something else in order to get that working, or maybe it was too, the lighting wasn't that great and it had difficulty, fully detecting me, or maybe it just didn't think I was a human. But either way, it didn't work for me. The camera, the ball head of the camera stayed in the same position, and I was quite easily able to walk out of shot, without the camera following me around. So, Arenti, if you're watching this, drop me an email and let me know what I've done wrong. Now, these cameras wouldn't be that great if they didn't have notification alerts on them, and the Arenti, like a lot of the cameras on the marketplace, has the notification settings. And in my testing, the alert came through pretty quickly, maybe a couple of seconds. I think I probably would have liked to have had the option of having some kind of image preview in the alert that came through. It didn't really have that. So I've got to go into the app to go and see what it is that it's gone and detected. And a couple of other bits that you've got in terms of notifications are the sound detections. I mentioned that in the specification earlier on in the video. So you've got that sound detection and also crying detection. So if you're going to use this camera for kind of like a baby monitor, then this is something you're going to need to enable within the application, really. You've also got the the motion sensitivity, so you've got high, medium and low, and also the ability to go and paint out what your detection zone is, where it's actually going to pick things up. So in terms of your recording footage, well, you've got 1, 2 and 3 minutes, no 30 seconds option there. So a bit limited in my opinion, and it all basically means that you're going to use up that micro SD card quicker than you would probably like. So as I mentioned earlier, you've got that cloud storage capability there, and you get 3 months free if you want to use that, but it is completely optional. You've also got the options to hook up to your smart devices, so no HomeKit on this. This is purely Amazon Echo and Google Home, but at least you've got those couple of devices there. And finally, under the advanced options, well, there's only really one, and that is the ONVIF support. So really good to see. This is an IP camera after all, so great to see that kind of functionality there within the application. It means basically you've got further integration with this camera. So outside of the settings and into the main app, well, it's a pretty standard affair, really. You can view your live footage, you can go look back at your other recordings and image snapshots, things like that. You can view your footage full screen, all standard stuff really. Change the resolution all the way down to standard definition if you want to save space on your SD card. With it being a pan and tilt camera, obviously you can control the head around as well. It's just missing that zoom function. And it's I must admit, in terms of lag between using the application and the actual camera moving, it's pretty rapid. It's probably the quickest camera I've actually gone and tried that on, in all honesty. And it's quite quiet as well. So if you're going to put this in maybe like a baby's room or something like that, it's not something that's really going to be like a loud motorized noise within the room. There is kind of like another option here within the application, which was really interesting to see when I went into it. And it's just labeled as music within the app, but when you actually go into it, obviously it is designed for use within when you've got this within a baby's room, something like that, or a child's room, and that is that it will play music, and it's got all kinds of things like lullabies on there and stuff like that. So really nice little touch that they've thought about, with this camera, trying to appeal to widest possible use, really. So in terms of recording footage, well, I've got a couple of clips for you here. One with the room where it's kind of like lit up with a couple of side lights, and the other one with the same room where it's in complete darkness now. In terms of colours, I'd say it probably could do with a little bit more colour in it. It's not one of these cameras that's massively oversaturated in terms of colour, but they're not 100% accurate in that regards. I think the black and white seems to work okay. It's not super exposed or anything like that. What I will say is that in terms of detection, I moved a good 10 feet across that room before it actually picked me up, and I was only about 5 feet away from the camera. So if you're going to use that as a security camera, maybe think about where that is located. But having said that, the field of view is quite wide as well, and I was almost able to walk past the camera with it still recording me. Obviously, if the human motion detection was working, I don't know why that wasn't working. Arenti, let me know, if you watch this video, then that would have followed me around, presumably. That's what I was expecting it to do, and that would have been absolutely superb. So overall, not too bad, not the worst of these types of cameras that I've gone and tested, but equally, I think if there was one thing that probably needs improving, there is the distance that it's able to detect you at. So to sum up my thoughts on the Arenti Dome 1 indoor security camera, well, hats off to Arenti for going completely the opposite direction to every other manufacturer, and not going with a boring white and having something that's quite a really stylish looking modern camera for indoor purposes. I think it absolutely looked brilliant compared to everything else, certainly at this price point as well, which is where a lot of the other cameras are as well. I think it's got that pan and tilt, which again, lots of the other cameras are fixed mount, fixed position type cameras. So to have a pan and tilt on it is a real bonus. I think they could have gone one step further though and had a pan, tilt and zoom. I think that would have been the icing on the cake. I think they would have dominated this sector with that kind of functionality there. A couple of things really that I'm not so happy about. The motion detection. So you could see in the footage there, I had to get really quite close to the camera before it actually picked me up. That was within 5 feet, which isn't great. I think if you're going to have this as a baby monitor or something like that, absolutely fine. But if you're going to be using this as a security camera, you probably want to be picking people up maybe before they've even stepped more than a couple of feet into a room. So 5 feet feels just a little bit on the short side. And I think the other thing really is, this is a 2K camera. It just doesn't feel, the image quality doesn't feel like it is 2K. It's only 3 megapixel. It just doesn't feel that crisp to me. It's not as good as quality as some other cameras that I've seen that are advertised as 2K cameras. So those are my kind of niggles with it. I think some of those probably would push the price point up a lot higher than what it is. So you have to bear all of those things in mind. But overall, if you're looking for this type of camera on the marketplace, and you want something that just looks an awful lot better than everything else, this is definitely one to put on your list to at least try out and see what you think about it yourself. So there you go, they're my thoughts on the Arenti Dome 1 camera. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. What do you think of the style of it? Is this the way we should be going with these types of cameras, or really should we be sticking with these boring white little cubes that we got dotted around the house? Drop your thoughts down below in the comments. If you've enjoyed this video, then don't forget to hit the like button. It really does help with YouTube's algorithms. It tells it that this is a good video to watch. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button for more content like this. But as always, guys, thanks for watching the video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.